Welcome to Impact Show. I'm so excited to be here with a great friend, Johnney Zhang, a fantastic developer and friend. I'm wearing a hard hat. It's the first time I've done an Impact Show with a hard hat. It's awesome. There's a reason for it. You'll figure it out in a second. This show is all about impact makers, people I know in my community and network that are doing just awesome things in their industry, in their community, in their give back. And I've been watching Johnney for the past few years doing some amazing projects, and I'm here with a stunning one, and we'll reveal that in a second. But before we do that, I'd like you to subscribe to our channel, and if you like it, hit the bell so you know every time we have a new episode. We just had Tarek El Moussa from Flipper Flop. We had Larry Armstrong, Aware Malcolm. We had the Pedigo founder and CEO, and we have an epic lineup in 2021. I can't wait till you see our shows. Johnney, tell our audience a little bit about your background, how you came to America, and what some of the projects you've been working on. Tell us in a couple minutes.
Sure. So I was born and raised in China, and went to England when I was 15 years old. Went there for high school and university. I wasn't a really good kid at study, so I didn't know how to speak English when I got to England. So went through a really tough time in the first few years. But then, learned my English really quickly and started to go to school and do some part-time work, and got into real estate in my university time, and started flipping houses actually.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, I found the opportunity while I was in university where the rental rate is really high, but where their housing is really dirt cheap. So I was able to buy them and then remodel them, rent them out, and sell them as income properties.
Right.
Made some good returns. Came to the United States in 2011, and then started doing construction. So got my construction license in 2014, then got my broker license in 2016. So started doing developments after that.
Right.
And did a lot of custom homes, and now doing commercial homes.
Awesome. So Johnney, what was the precipice when what inside you made you want to go into real estate instead of engineering or hospitality? What was it in England that you were drawn to real estate? What was it about that?
My family's been in real estate. So I grew up with my family, we involved in real estate, we did everything. We did the hotel complex, we did the industrial complex, we did apartment buildings back in China. I was born and raised in Wuhan, so we did a lot of projects in Wuhan.
Wow.
I just liked what I do. And I see something from ground up, and it's just a totally different experience. Plus you're creating something unique.
Right.
It's like your baby. Every project you do is your baby.
Right.
So it's exciting.
Yeah, my wife and I, we went to China for a month. It was one of the greatest trips I ever taken. And I'll never forget, from whatever city we were in, from the smallest cities to the largest cities, the buildings and the architecture was just off the charts. Do you feel that China has some creative advantage as far as the architecture or design that they build, or is it less regulations? Why is their skyline so different than other parts of the world? I'm just curious.
Believe it or not, actually a lot of those projects are designed by American architects.
Oh, okay.
They don't get built here in America, I guess either there's a budget problem or other problems. China is a growing country, it's not a developed country, it's a developing country. So there's a lot of support from governments, substitutes.
Right.
So they have a lot of fundings from governments for housing too, and there's a lot of populations.
Right.
So all the housing projects get a lot of support from governments. So they have a lot of budget to do it. So the things that were designed here actually in the United States could not get built here, but all get built in China.
Right. And so when you came from England over here to the United States, you discovered you had that flipping background, kind of like Tarek does with Flipper Flop, and you decided, you know what, I'm gonna settle here in Southern California. I know your offices are just around the Diamond Bar area, and then you're gonna find infield projects and you're gonna start development. I know your business and projects are mixed use. You've got everything from retail to commercial to residential. Can you talk to me why you're so diverse and not just in one specific thing?
Well, I believe real estate has value in every asset class, like office and their residentials. They all have their different charms. I like to get my hands on every of them. My criteria is as long as they make profit and they're cool, I'll do it.
Right.
So it's pretty simple.
Does it just gravitate to you where you're like, that project I can see great potential in, because your returns are strong at your business? How are you able to find something so unique? Do you have brokers and people that work within you, or are you searching online? What's the magic?
Actually, I don't. I know I read the same information everybody read. I work with brokers, I work with other information everybody have. I just have to spend a lot of time. We go through those information. There's a lot of bad information out there. You just have to filter through them and find the best one. You have to have a division.
Right.
You have to know what you do. For example, these projects.
Right.
So I bought a project in 2014, and I bought it from bankruptcy.
Right.
So the previous owner was working on this for the last 10 years.
Right.
And they're trying to get through coast commissions. They couldn't get it. They actually sued the coast commission, spent a couple $1 million, and couldn't get it through. So I bought it, and because nobody else wanted it. They want the project, but nobody else thinks they want to take that risk to get it through.
Right.
I bought it. I was like, you know what? It. I'll work it.
Right.
Without even having a plan to how do I get it done?
Sure.
And actually, before that, I've never heard of coastal commission. What is coastal commission? We don't have that in China. We don't have that in England. We don't know.
Sure.
So anyway, I bought it. It took me quite a few years to get it through, but we got it done.
So that's a big thing I want my audience to really hear is high risk is high reward. And Johnney saw an opportunity where someone else failed at, and he was able to identify and work through the dynamics to be able to get that project approved. And where we're standing right now is almost 15 acres of earth that Johnney now owns. And he was able to work with government officials and public-private sector to get all this land. And I was born and raised in Orange County. I know real estate very well here. I actually develop homes as well. And when I saw how much earth was moving here right on the coast, I was just drawn to this, thinking, wow, this is a spectacular residence that you're building. Johnney, tell us where we're at and look at the surroundings of this. I mean, crystal blue Pacific Ocean from a 270-degree view, panoramic, 14, 15 acres of land. What are you building on this site?
Project in Dana Point, and when we're searching for property, we're looking at Newport Beach, everywhere, surrounding area. We found this property in 15 acres in the middle of nowhere. Sorry, not middle of nowhere, actually. Within their communities, but there's no neighbors surrounding the area. It's like a big preserved land in Dana Point. So we feel like, okay, if this property has so much privacy that nobody else has, because if you go to Newport Beach, you buy a house there, then, well, you have your neighbors right next to it.
Sure.
So this one's different. So we're building a single family property here, which is over 18,000 square foot with a main house and about 12,000 square foot. Then there are rec rooms and a guest house.
Wow.
And there's a garage that can park like over 20 cars. Chinese like Feng shui, so we're actually lying against the mountain and looking at the ocean. This is the best Feng shui we have.
Right.
So we actually got the Feng shui master here, look at the site before we bought it.
Awesome.
So the score is 10 out of 10.
Symphony is the name of the project.
Yes.
Tell me about the name Symphony. How did you come up with that? And I'm in marketing, so when I heard Symphony and I saw Symphony, it could not have been a better word to represent what you're creating here. Talk a little bit about that vision.
Thank you. So actually, when we bought this property, there was a previous design with another firm. I don't remember the architecture name. I didn't like that design, so I hired a local architect, Brian Jeanette. He came with a design, which the roof shape is like a circle, right? It's like a dancing music, so they call it Symphony.
Oh, beautiful.
After architecture, he created architecture first, then he named it Symphony afterwards.
Right.
I just fall in love with that design as soon as
I love it.
He gave me 3 options. I just like, I don't want to look at the other 2. This is it.
This is it.
I've never seen anything like this in here.
Right.
So this is so unique.
But when they did the wrestling matches for the 1984 Olympics, it was at the Anaheim Convention Center. And the Anaheim Convention Center still has an elliptical shape. It was the original convention center. It's an elliptical dome. And this Symphony project emulates that in so many ways. And that kind of elliptical design is timeless. You see a lot of contemporary homes, you see rustic homes, French homes, Italian homes. To me, I feel like those designs evolve over time, but this elliptical look is a timeless look that I think will be relevant for generations. I think you guys absolutely nailed it. So tell me a little bit about what Feng Shui means to you. I noticed that there's several water elements that you're making around this, pools and spas and such, but you also have the Pacific Ocean. Can you educate our audience as to what Feng Shui is, coming from the Chinese root, like you're saying, but what your vision of Feng Shui is for this incredible project?
So Feng Shui is a science. It's not a specific thing. It's a science. So Chinese ancestors designed this system where they look at their surroundings, everything around you, to see if they can get energy, like positive energy, stay in the house within the property. So with a property with good Feng Shui, you'll be healthier, you'll be luckier, you'll be happier when you live here. So lying against the mountain and facing the ocean at exactly 270 degree is the best Feng Shui you can have.
That is awesome. And living in Feng Shui, I think it just gives a sense of balance to a human being. That energy is so important. And it's great to see how that radiates to this home. And this home isn't just a home, it's like a campus. What drew me so much to it is all the natural land it comes with. Donald Bren, who's been a mentor of mine and owns the Irvine Company, he's doing that at a much grander scale, right? So if you look at Newport Coast and some areas of Irvine, there's a lot of natural preserve that surrounds it. And I think it really ups the value value because it gives a recreation in life to individuals and families and people who want to go jogging or hiking or walk their dog. You could basically do that here at your home. You come here, you've got this incredible home, but then you've got, what, 12 acres of natural land that's around you. What are some of the things that the owner could potentially do with that land?
So the property is about 15 acres, and so if you see that mountain there, and we own like a half of it right
Wow.
here. The other half, like we don't own it, but there's a hiking trail on the land. So
Oh, wow.
the future owner can potentially walk the entire, like approximately over 30 acres of land,
Right.
hiking trail, and there, of course, like about 13 acres of that's private. Nobody can get into it. So their house takes about 2 acres of land. The rest of them are all preserved for nature.
Right. So that's incredible, because I don't know of a single property in all of Orange County, which is the crown jewel of real estate, that has this much land that an individual can just take a walk and have their friends over. And in the era of social distance, I mean, this is going to be something that was going to be top of mind for years and years. Having just interviewed the CEO of Pedigo Bikes, you know, there's so many people that are now riding electric bikes and going outside and enjoying nature, and that's just becoming a part of that lifestyle, and I think that's a fantastic amenity. Johnney, tell us a little bit about your vision of the inside of the property. What are some of the amenities? What will be different about the way this house feels? We know what the outside and the feng shui and the surrounding land is. Tell us about your vision on the inside.
Inside will be super modern, right? So we hired one of the best interior designer, who's James Magny out of Beverly Hills. He's known to be a modern design. We
Right.
picked him because we want this one to be modern, like timeless
Sure.
materials. So everything inside will go with outside. Actually, we'll have a big green onyx wall on the living room that's going to take the entire floor to ceiling, and there's all be carved and on the wall.
Oh, wow.
And then with the flooring will be like these dancing
Sure.
waves,
Dancing waves.
and they're with the big marble tiles.
Right.
And we have 2 kitchens. You know, it's
Two
Chinese.
kitchens,
One's Western, one's Eastern.
There you go.
And then what big room movie theater.
Right.
And with the modern technologies.
Right.
Yeah, and we have their pool, which is outside of it, not inside. But then the pool is having connected with the ocean. If you look at the pool and the swim right here, you will feel like you're swimming in the ocean.
Oh, that's an incredible vision. I can't wait to see it all come together. So tell us a little bit about the timeline. This isn't something that can be built in a few months. How long until you see the completion of this project, and what's your vision there?
It took us about 6 years to get entitlements, and that's between coast commissions and their city of data point delays. But we started construction in early of this year, so we think it might take about 3 years to finish.
Okay.
So anticipating finish time will be 2023.
2023.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you know, real estate has seen all-time records, and Tarek and I were just talking about how I think real estate is the greatest investment, because if you have a stock portfolio or equities, there's no emotional connection to your investment. But when it's real estate, you can actually live in a home. You can have dinner with your family. You can go on a hike in your backyard. You can go swimming. Every moment, every breath you take, you're getting value out of that real estate. But what's even better is the compounded return. I very rarely hear of people saying, oh, I lost big on that home that I just built or that I just purchased. And we know when things are so overpriced that it doesn't make sense. But I'm starting to see projects that are just 1 acre, a couple zip codes north of us, that are going in the $60, $70 million range. And this is 15 acres of unobstructed crystal blue Pacific Ocean. I think this is going to be a project that is not just a great lifestyle for the occupant, but it's going to be a fantastic and safe investment. And having lived in San Clemente, which is right next to where we're at here, I've had nothing but a fantastic return on life investment living in South Orange County. And I think this whole area, this whole region is the next big thing. Newport is all built out. Irvine Company has done a good job with the state to preserve all that land. You can't put any homes on it. So everything is moving south, and again, to get this much land and to build a single family residence will be a spectacular value for whoever ends up being here. And it's great to have you here so early in the project, and I'm excited that IMA gets to be the one to release this project to the world in this capacity, because in my opinion, I know a lot of things going on in Orange County. This right here is the best kept secret in Orange County. And Johnny's a fantastic friend of mine and a friend of the community, very involved with the organizations that I'm involved in, the IMA. He's a great mentor and someone that's available to you. If you have any questions or you want to do business with Johnny, he's always available and he always responds. Johnny, let's switch gears a little bit to tell our audience about sort of your growth as an entrepreneur. We have thousands of people watching this that are young business people or people working for companies. When you face adversity, like when everything is like kind of crashing down on you on a project, how are you able to see past that? How are you able to kind of wake up the next day and just be like, you know what, that sucked, but now I'm ready on to something new? What advice do you have for our audience?
Well, I can read a lot of Chinese books, and there's one saying is about yin yang. I never heard about it. So yin yang means like a positive and negative, right? Everything can be explained in two ways. I explain everything in a positive and negative way. So the way I think is everything happened to you, doesn't matter if it's good or bad. If it's really bad, there's always a good side of it. So I'll try to focus on the good side of it.
There you go.
Right. So whatever happened to me is bad, but there's always a good side of it. Right. If I failed the investment, fine. Oh, well, I learned my license. I'm not going to make the same mistake again. Right. There's always a good side of it. I'm just trying to focus on the good side, not the negative side.
That's some really good advice. So no matter how bad it gets in that moment or that deal or that project you're working on, there's always something good to learn from it. So that's great advice, Johnny. In closing, you know, just looking at the future of real estate and business, is there any things that you see coming up just in the work that you're doing that you see as growth opportunities? I mean, we're sitting here in December 2020. Where do you see things going in real estate in the next maybe 2 or 3 quarters, and then maybe a little bit longer than that? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think real estate is a really good investment long term, and no matter what, right? Because the population is growing, people need homes, and there's housing shortage in entire California, and everything's growing, and there's not enough homes. Right. So real estate is always going to be growing. There's going to be some downtime next year, sometime because of the pandemic, but I think long term, real estate will be back up.
Johnny, not only are you great in real estate and diverse there, but you're also a diverse entrepreneur. Tell us a little bit about some of these recent businesses you've acquired or started, including Xanergy, Investment Bank, as well as New Rain, which is your PPE company and focused on healthcare. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Actually, I did not start Xanergy. I invested in Xanergy. Xanergy has been an investment banking based in San Diego. They've been around for 20 years. I think Stephanie, the CEO and founder of the company, and she started the company 20 years ago. And it's a really successful company. I met her, and I really like the company, the model, their business model, the goal they do. So I invest in the company. They're basically focused on helping small to medium business raise capitals, and be their financial advisor, be their investment bankers, help them whatever need they have. You know, most of the business fail because they don't have a capital. So they're resolving that problem for most of the business right here. And a New Rain is actually an online marketplace for health care products. So right now there's a tremendous need for PPE. I'm Chinese. When this pandemic first started, I actually donated a lot of gloves, a lot of masks from the U.S. to China.
Wow.
Although they're all made in China, but you know there was shortage in China. So I actually bought a lot of here, like a few million of them, sent it back to China. Then when these things hit U.S., I was like, shit, I have to buy from China.
There you go.
So bought a lot from China here, from China, and then donated here a lot. But then as I do, there's this continuous shortage, and I'm like, there's whatever, doesn't matter how much I donate, there's always a shortage. So you know what? I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna get some investors. I'm gonna buy more, and I'm gonna sell them at the lowest price I could, and just to help out. I'm not expecting to make a lot of money, but obviously I have to make money to keep my return to my investors. But I did as much as I can. So now New Rain is their online marketplace, sell mostly PPEs, and they're at probably the best place you can find on the internet.
Awesome, and we're sharing that with our audience today. So again, I present to you Johnney Zhang. Thank you so much for having us here and sharing your incredible project with our audience, and we wish you continued success. We'll be back to you, Impact Television, with our next guest coming up in the next few weeks, and we thank you for joining us today. Boom!